She vanished from Hollywood at the height of her fame, and no one was told the real reason. Kristy McNichol walked away from stardom 31 years ago, leaving fans confused and the industry silent. For decades, questions lingered about her sudden exit. Now, the truth behind why she left is finally coming to light. After enjoying renewed visibility on Empty Nest, the popular Golden Girls spin-off, Kristy McNichol made the difficult decision to step away from the series in 1992, departing midway through its 5th season. At the time, her exit was described only vaguely, but behind the scenes, McNichol was grappling with serious mental health struggles that made the relentless pace of network television increasingly unsustainable. Long hours, constant scrutiny, and the pressure to perform week after week had begun to take a profound toll on her well-being. In the years that followed, McNichol would later reveal that she had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder, then more commonly referred to as manic depression. During the early 1990s, public understanding of the condition was limited, and stigma around mental illness remained widespread, especially in Hollywood. As a result, she chose to keep her diagnosis private, focusing instead on protecting her health and regaining a sense of balance away from the spotlight. Her decision to leave Empty Nest was not a sudden retreat, but a necessary act of self-preservation after more than 2 decades of non-stop work in the entertainment industry. McNichol returned to Empty Nest only once more, making a brief appearance in the series finale in 1995. That moment served as both a quiet farewell and a symbolic closing chapter on her dramatic acting career. The appearance marked her final on-screen role in a scripted television series, bringing to an end a career that had begun in childhood and reached remarkable heights. Not long after, Kristy McNichol had already stepped well outside the public eye, having largely withdrawn from the demands of on-camera acting. However, before closing the door on Hollywood entirely, she made a few selective and low-profile returns through voice acting, an avenue that allowed her to remain creatively involved without the physical, emotional, and public pressures that had defined her earlier career. These roles were carefully chosen and limited in scope, reflecting her ongoing desire to maintain control over her workload and personal well-being. In 1997, McNichol lent her voice to the animated series Extreme Ghostbusters, a continuation of the popular franchise aimed at a younger generation. The role required none of the intense visibility or grueling production schedules associated with live-action television, offering her a quieter way to participate in storytelling. The following year, she appeared in the animated science fiction miniseries Invasion America, 1998. A more serious and politically charged project that showcased her ability to convey depth and emotion purely through vocal performance. Though modest in scale, the work demonstrated that her talent remained intact even as she moved further away from mainstream celebrity. Importantly, these voiceover appearances did not signal a comeback or renewed commitment to acting. Instead, they functioned as transitional projects, final creative expressions before she chose to disengage fully from the entertainment industry. After Invasion America, McNichol made no further screen or voice appearances, effectively concluding her professional acting career. Her quiet exit stood in contrast to the intensity of her early fame and underscored a deeply personal decision to step away on her own terms, leaving behind a respected body of work rather than forcing herself back into an industry that no longer aligned with her priorities or health. In June 2001, Kristy McNichol formally and publicly confirmed what many observers had already suspected. Her acting career had come to an end. After more than 2 decades in the entertainment industry, she announced her official retirement, closing the book on a 24-year career that had begun when she was still a child. The statement was notable not for bitterness or regret, but for its calm clarity and emotional honesty, qualities that had come to define her life away from the spotlight. McNichol explained that she had reached a point where continuing to act no longer aligned with her personal needs or sense of self. In a line that resonated deeply with fans, she said it was time to play her biggest part, herself. The decision, she emphasized, was not impulsive, but the result of years of reflection following her gradual withdrawal from Hollywood in the 1990s. Stepping away, she said, was necessary and vital for her personal happiness and well-being, particularly after years of managing mental health challenges in an industry that rarely slowed down. Following her official retirement from acting, Kristy McNichol embraced a markedly quieter and more grounded way of life in Los Angeles, deliberately stepping away from the visibility that had defined her childhood and early adulthood. Rather than severing all ties with the craft that had shaped her for decades, she redirected her experience into teaching, working as an acting instructor at a private school. In this role, McNichol was able to pass on practical knowledge gained from years in film and television, offering guidance to young performers without subjecting herself to the pressures of public performance. Teaching provided her with a sense of purpose that contrasted sharply with the demands of Hollywood. Removed from cameras, ratings, and public scrutiny, she focused on nurturing confidence, discipline, and emotional honesty in her students, values shaped by both her professional success and personal struggles. For McNichol, the classroom represented a healthier relationship with acting, one rooted in mentorship rather than exposure. Alongside teaching, she quietly involved herself in charitable work throughout the 2000s. She participated in benefit events and supported various causes, often lending her presence rather than seeking recognition. True to her post-Hollywood philosophy, she avoided publicity whenever possible, preferring to contribute in ways that did not place her back in the spotlight. Away from Hollywood's spotlight, Kristy McNichol used her post-retirement years to explore parts of herself that had long been set aside during her decades in the entertainment industry. Freed from production schedules, auditions, and public expectations, she began to pursue interests that had nothing to do with fame or performance. According to various reports, one of these pursuits included attending a local hairstyling school, an unconventional choice for a former television star, but one that reflected her desire for independence and normalcy. The decision to study hairstyling symbolized more than the acquisition of a practical skill. It represented McNichol's wish to experience everyday routines and environments that most people take for granted. Enrolling in classes, learning hands-on techniques, and interacting with peers outside the entertainment world allowed her to step fully into an average life, something she had been largely denied since entering show business as a child. The simplicity of learning a new trade offered a sense of control and personal satisfaction that contrasted sharply with the high-pressure world she had left behind. Beyond formal training, McNichol embraced ordinary personal interests, quiet hobbies, close relationships, and a slower pace of living. These choices underscored her commitment to redefining identity outside of celebrity status. Rather than seeking reinvention through another public career, she found fulfillment in anonymity and self-discovery. In the decades following her retirement, Kristy McNichol gradually shaped a life defined by balance, privacy, and emotional stability, values that stood in deliberate contrast to the intensity of her early years in the spotlight. No longer bound to the demands of Hollywood, she focused on building daily routines that supported both her mental and physical well-being. This period marked a quiet but profound transformation as she shifted her energy inward and toward activities that fostered calm and self-awareness. Among the practices she embraced were yoga and singing, both of which provided grounding outlets for expression without the pressures of public performance. Yoga offered structure and mindfulness, helping her maintain stability and manage stress, while singing allowed her to reconnect with creativity in a personal, non-competitive way. Travel also became an important part of her life, giving her the opportunity to experience new places and cultures on her own terms, free from schedules, cameras, or expectations. In January 2012, Christy McNichol made a deeply personal and intentional decision to speak publicly about her sexual orientation, announcing that she was a lesbian after years of living quietly outside the spotlight. The choice was not driven by a desire for renewed attention, but by a sense of responsibility and compassion. McNichol explained that she came out in hopes of supporting LGBTQ+ youth and others who were experiencing bullying, isolation, or discrimination, particularly those who felt alone or unseen. At the time of her announcement, McNichol also revealed that she had been in a long-term, committed relationship with her partner, Marty Allen, since the early 1990s. The disclosure reframed much of her private life, offering context to her long retreat from Hollywood while underscoring the stability and love she had quietly built away from public scrutiny. By sharing this part of her story, she sought to normalize same-sex relationships and demonstrate that a fulfilling, healthy life was possible beyond fear or secrecy. Importantly, McNichol emphasized that her decision to come out was about helping others rather than redefining herself publicly. She expressed hope that openness about her life might ease the pain of young people struggling with their identities, particularly those facing harassment or rejection. Coming from a former child star who had stepped away from fame to protect her well-being, the message carried added weight. Her announcement was widely met with respect and appreciation, especially given the thoughtful, understated way she approached it. Rather than positioning herself as an activist figurehead, McNichol offered something quieter but equally powerful: visibility paired with empathy. In doing so, she turned a personal truth into a source of comfort and solidarity for others, reinforcing her long-standing commitment to authenticity and emotional health. Since retiring from acting and later coming out publicly, Christy McNichol has remained steadfast in her commitment to a private, low-profile life. Unlike many former celebrities who re-engage with audiences through social media, McNichol has chosen to maintain no public online presence, reinforcing her long-standing desire to live outside the constant feedback loop of fame. This deliberate absence has allowed her to preserve personal boundaries and continue prioritizing well-being over visibility. Despite this privacy, McNichol has not disappeared entirely. On rare occasions throughout the 2000s and 10s and into the present, she has made selective public appearances, including brief visits to fan conventions or special events. These moments are typically understated, lacking promotional intent, and focused instead on genuine interaction. When she does appear, she is often described as relaxed and approachable, engaging warmly with longtime fans who grew up watching her films and television series. The contrast between her calm presence and the intensity of her earlier career underscores how fully she has embraced life beyond Hollywood. These unexpected appearances tend to spark renewed interest, prompting waves of affection and nostalgia from admirers who remember her as a defining figure of 1970s and 1980s pop culture. Yet McNichol has consistently resisted calls for a full comeback, signaling that her relationship with the public remains carefully managed and intentional. Her sparse visibility has, paradoxically, strengthened her legacy. By choosing when and how to be seen, McNichol has maintained a sense of dignity and autonomy rarely afforded to child stars. For fans, each rare sighting feels less like a revival and more like a reassuring glimpse of someone who found peace beyond fame and held on to it. As of recent reports, Christy McNichol continues to live quietly in Los Angeles with her longtime partner Marty Allen, maintaining the stable and low-profile life she intentionally built after leaving the entertainment industry. Far removed from red carpets, premieres, and press cycles, her daily world reflects the values she has consistently prioritized for decades: emotional balance, privacy, and authenticity. The choice to remain rooted in Los Angeles, once the center of her fame, now simply home, underscores how completely she has redefined her relationship with the city and with celebrity itself. Life with Allen is described as supportive and grounded, shaped by routine rather than public recognition. Having been together since the early 1990s, their partnership has provided continuity through McNichol's most significant transitions, from stepping away from acting to embracing a healthier, more private identity. Rather than revisiting Hollywood or seeking renewed relevance, McNichol has remained content living outside its orbit, enjoying a life structured around personal well-being rather than professional ambition. Her continued absence from the entertainment spotlight is not accidental, nor is it rooted in bitterness or retreat. Instead, it reflects a deeply considered commitment to stability and self-care, one forged through years of intense early fame and later health challenges. McNichol has consistently resisted the pressures of nostalgia-driven comebacks, signaling that peace and consistency matter more to her than public validation. What do you think about Kristy McNichol? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.